Well, today we have the wonderful Isha on, which I've been really looking forward to, and I've been excited for it for days now. So, just to start off, Isha, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from, like where you come from, and so forth?
Right. Thank you so much for having me and letting me use this platform. So, where I come from, a little bit about me. It has always been an interesting question because I
Mhm.
know that I've been touched by and I have touched like quite a few places.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it depends on who is asking the question, what the context is. A lot of
Hmm.
people are looking for the ethnicity. A lot of people are looking
Yeah.
for where the roots are. Some people are looking for, oh, where are you coming from, like right now, or where I'm living. So I'll just
Yeah.
give a little bit of a background. So I was born and raised in Pakistan up until my high school. So I completed my high school in Pakistan, and then
Hmm.
my family moved to Canada, to Alberta.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Nice.
I
Yeah.
so I completed the rest of my studies in Alberta, Edmonton, to be precise.
Yeah.
And my family still lives there, but
Hmm.
then I got married and I moved to California, and I've been in US for just about 25 years now.
Wow.
So just a little bit about me. Um, I on personal, like, family wise, I've three
Mhm.
siblings. I'm the baby of the family,
Yeah.
and uh, I've grown. My dad was a basically he was a civil engineer, and he worked for Pakistan Railways all his life,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
years. So I lived in a nuclear family setup. Although in Pakistan,
Hmm.
a joint family is very common. Families live together, especially the parents, and then as they get married and you know they move out or for studies or for work, but
Hmm.
I lived in a nuclear family setup and had a wonderful childhood. But yeah, then things started moving, parents
Hmm.
growing old.
Yeah.
We moved here, and we all ended up. Some of my siblings are still in Canada. I have a sister in the United Kingdom, and
Wow.
here. So yeah, I
I
know I
love it.
have any immediate family in Pakistan.
Yeah, yeah. I actually think I knew that you lived in Canada. I had forgotten about that. I think I heard that a while back, that maybe you were on vacation to Canada to visit family or something, and that might have been how I realized that you had once lived in Canada. So you know exactly what Canadians are like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've loved Canada all the time. I think I lived there for a good 5, 6 years.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I used to live in Calgary years ago. My son would have been around 1, so around 15 years ago, I lived in Calgary, and I liked it there. Very clean city, like, it was probably one of the cleanest cities I've ever been in. It was, surprising seeing such a large city like that being just so clean and tidy.
right,
That's one of the first things I noticed.
because my most of my time was spent in Edmonton. I've
Mhm.
been to Calgary. I still have, I mean, I have a sibling there, so I do
Yeah,
visit. But Edmonton is also great. I mean, it's
yeah,
very different when I moved there.
yeah,
Um, Now it's multicultural. It's really amazing now to see the
yeah.
difference.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, perfect. So, what is something about your life or upbringing that shaped who you are today?
I I do believe that, like I said, that I grew up in a nuclear family setup, so I had like
Mhm,
all attention from my parents, and
mhm.
they looked after me. I had older siblings, so being the baby of the family too, so I had all
Yeah,
attention and all the resources growing up.
yeah,
A touch of our culture, our values, our religion that made all the difference from who you are, who I am, and
yeah.
who I've become. And it's been a long journey, but things have changed. My mindset have changed.
Mhm.
My thoughts have changed. But I believe it's all for the better.
Absolutely. I think that goes for everybody. Like, even now, like, I'm 37 now, and me when I was like 23, 24, like the way I used to think back then is quite different compared to the way I think now. Like, I think that's just a part of growth. And as long as you're growing and doing better for yourself, that's absolutely wonderful. I think that's very normal part of just being a human is growing and changing and learning, and something that you once believed before may not believe now, or maybe might not align with it now. I certainly don't align with some thoughts I had previously in my younger years. So not terrible thoughts, but just nothing like that. But um, just I'm more mature now is a good way to put it. Like I think more maturely now.
Yeah, I mean, age maturity brings a lot
Hmm.
of difference too, and your experiences in life when you actually step into your practical life and you're studying, you're living with your parents, and you're kind of
Yeah,
under their care. It's very, very different. You think differently, but when you step out of that and then you actually start your own life,
yeah,
you have your own kids, and you're raising kids, it's absolutely
hmm,
different.
yeah, 100%.
To instill the values into the next generation.
Yeah.
Think like the place I find myself now is that, the world around me, how it has changed and the experiences I've had, what kind of world am I leaving to my kids? And for my
Hmm.
kids, I don't mean my own kids. I mean, this generation that we are raising now, we are leaving for them. And
Yeah.
it does scare me. It
Yeah.
scares
Me too.
because things have changed especially in past 5 years and then
Hmm.
in 10 years.
Yeah.
Things changed so much. I mean, I don't think that things have gone back or it'll settle down this easily, but we can
Yeah.
hope for the best and do what we can.
Yeah, that's a part of the reason why I wanna start these kind of conversations is there's just so much misinformation out there, disinformation, like, sometimes people will say things because they don't understand something, but sometimes people will say things that's incorrect purposely to cause confusion, cause anger, like, just create this whole narrative that is just driven around fear, and it's turning people, I don't know if I really want to say like hateful, but it's just turning people to be more not so kind anymore. And that's definitely not a world that I want my children to grow up in. I want them to be in a world where people are kind and loving and caring and treat people how you want to be treated. That's how my mother raised me, to always treat people how I would want to be treated myself. So I'm a very empathetic person too, so I think that comes natural a bit as well. Like I couldn't imagine just being mean to someone just for the hell of it, just because I'm in a bad mood kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
find I'm just seeing a lot more of that as well. So hopefully some good conversations can come out of these. So this one I actually really, this is one that I really wanted to touch on. What part of your culture do you wish people understood more?
I would say because in our culture, religion plays a big part. Religion is not our religion. Islam is not just about, uh, you know, worship and a set of ideas. It's a way of life. It's
Yeah.
not something that can be imposed on others. It's
Hmm.
I mean, if you are convicted, you have that conviction in
Yeah.
you and you have that belief. That's all it means. It's
Hmm.
not something that can be imposed on others. And that is
Yeah.
something I wish people would understand more, that looking at me or any other Muslim is not Islam. Muslims may be representative of Islam, but I mean, to
Hmm.
understand the actual teaching and what it really means, the concepts and everything, we need to go back to the scripture,
Yeah.
really, if you really need to understand. But just
Yeah.
look at a set of people, few people. I mean, I'm not like a perfect Muslim. Like, you could not say that
Yeah.
you cannot understand Islam just like talking to me and looking at me. So I just wish that people would judge Islam more on its actual teachings and go into, if they really need to understand, go into the teachings more rather than
Mhm.
basing their judgment on standard Muslims.
Yeah, and also what people see on TV, like, it's always going to be the shock that is played over and over and over on news stations, on social media, so as soon as there's something bad, it's gonna be the thing that's played the most. There's typically not gonna be anything good highlighted, unfortunately, with the way the world works, and then that kind of puts this assumption on the entire culture that you're just all alike. every single one.
And then it's all propaganda and the promotion
Hmm.
of wrong narratives, and we all know that there's money involved in this. Like it's
Yeah.
being fed into the system, into the brains,
Hmm.
eventually. And with the globalization, with the internet, with the social media, it's just easy to propagate anything.
Yeah.
And and it's really, I feel sad that a bad evil spreads more easily than
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if we can play a little part in doing that, I think anybody, if you can, you should.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's sad that that's the way the world works. Like anything negative spreads like wildfire, and then anything positive, like you just hardly get any reaction from it. I mean, not maybe not necessarily like, for instance, like animal videos, like those will always get plenty of reactions because they're sweet. Most people love animals and so forth. But when it comes to human beings, it's the negative stuff that it's gonna get the most reactions and views and whatnot. And I was actually looking it up the other day, getting ready for this conversation, because I really want to make it understood that people I want really want people to understand that across this entire earth, there's around 2 billion Muslim people, and only a very small fraction, under 1%, have these like extremist views that you see played over and over and over on the news stations, on social media. It's a shame that we're in a place now where people think that every Muslim is the same. Like I was saying to you before we started recording, I've been seeing people I know share a video saying that Islam is coming for all of our women, trans is coming for our kids, and this and that and this and that. And it's just, it's like it's propaganda. It's there to get people in an uproar. And frankly, it's spreading hate, and it's not based on facts. So I really like to try to battle misinformation, because I think truth is really important when it comes to these types of situations, these types of topics, because eventually if people continue to spread these beliefs, it's going to get further and further and further, and then things could eventually turn dangerous. People could start getting attacked just because someone, oh, there's a Muslim, like they're all alike, and or there's an Indian, they're all alike. Like there's a whole debate here going on about people from India, Muslims, and everything I see so far is just not true. And it's important to have these conversations based on truth rather than fear mongering, rather than labeling one whole group as these extremists. Sit down and have a conversation with these people that you're so terrified of, and realize how wrong you are, how wonderful. Like I've known you for approximately 6 years now, roughly, and every single interaction I've had with you has been great. Like I think you're one of the sweetest people I've ever met, and you're just so kind, you're helpful, and you just really embody what, like you said, you're not a perfect Muslim. I don't think anybody's perfect, but you embody, I believe, what the core beliefs are around your faith. And I think that's most, well, I don't think that, I know that that's most Muslims. 99% of Muslims are the same way.
So I would say that I always think that there are two parts of our personalities and what have our
Hmm.
outward behavior. There's culture, and then there's
Yeah.
religion. A lot of times these two things get confused.
Yep.
Well, one is culture, one is religion. I'll just
Yeah.
give you a plain example. For example, marriage, like, an arranged marriage. So arranged
Yeah.
marriage has nothing to do with Islam, right? It's more of culture, like
Yeah.
the the cultural values that have been coming down for hundreds of years, right?
Hmm.
In our religion, the example of our prophet got married to this lady who was a businesswoman at that time, like 1500 years ago. She was rich. She was the one who proposed to him, and they got married, and they had a
Hmm.
wonderful, successful married life. It's just a small example. I'm just saying that. And then the narrative out there is, oh, women are oppressed and they don't have a say. I mean, I would say there was a time, I just remembered that there was a time, there were three Muslim countries who
Hmm.
had the head of the state were women. It was Pakistan, Turkey, and Bangladesh. So all three countries, all at the same time, had women as, head of the states.
Mhm.
And I was it's funny how, I mean, United States never had a woman to be the president in
Mhm.
250 years.
Yeah.
So it's, it's just all, I really think it's all propaganda. It's more like, throwing out that promoting the wrong narrative.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's nothing to do with the religion itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up because I really didn't know that about the female leaders. So I think that's wonderful. That just goes to show that so much of it is propaganda, and people really need to realize that it doesn't matter what race you are, it doesn't matter what your religion is, there's always extremists. Like there's always an extremist group. Like even with Christians, like there are extreme Christians out there that really promote what I view as a lot of like hate against things that they don't believe is correct. Instead of like leaving people alone and letting people do whatever they want to do, they're being really hateful towards certain groups of people. And I was thinking the other day, there's a lot coming out over the years, actually, not just recently, but over the years, that there's a lot of like pastors and priests that are doing wrong things to children. And I'm pretty sure that Christians and whatnot would not want to be painted all as child predators,
Absolutely.
because there's some of their leaders that are, and some of their people that are very involved and very well known in their churches are being shown as who they actually are. They're child predators, and I'm positive that Christians and other religions don't want you to think that they're all like that, because it's not true. That's just not the case. It's only a small fraction of them that actually do these things. It doesn't mean that the whole religion is that way. And I think people only treat like Christianity that way. Like it's excused. We don't think of that entire group that way because I mean, it's common sense. But then you look at other religions or other ethnicities, and because there's a very small fraction that do these horrible things, they're all of a sudden all painted in that same color for whatever reason. I don't understand. I just wish people would not be hypocritical when it comes to, if they want to judge people, don't be hypocritical about it. Treat everybody the same. If you're going to be judgmental in certain areas, then let's make sure that we're doing that across the whole board instead.
There's black sheep everywhere. I mean, there's good and bad people. My experience throughout, because coming from Pakistan, I know that back there, people look up on the Western world.
Mhm,
Like I mentioned before, I had a wonderful childhood. I grew up in a very secure, protective environment. We
mhm,
lived in a good, an elite class kind of environment, a
yeah.
place, not many people get to have. And then the question comes, oh, what are you even doing here? So the thing is that my parents had that, they had that foresight that there's a lot of corruption. There's things are going southwards. So
Mhm,
what they were able to provide to us, we may not be able to achieve that living back there. So they
yeah,
decide that, for a better future, for a more secure future, we should all move out. But people still, I mean, they look up to the Western world. But when I came here, my experience was not that bad. I mean, I did get some cultural shock was there and everything.
yeah,
General people, general public are really, they're very good. I've met really good people. I
yeah,
mean, no matter what race they were, what ethnicity, they were immigrants or the natives, they're
mhm,
born here or coming from somewhere. I have met, like, in general, people are really, really good. And I really
yeah,
think that it's all political. The
yeah, it
division,
is.
hatred, and it's top down, not bottom up. But
Absolutely.
and bad people are less, but just because evil spreads so easily, and it just it's very hard to stop. And
Yeah,
that's why, I mean, even though good people are more than bad people, this is my personal opinion, because I know that I've
same.
good people more than I've met bad people, just simply put. I just think that if there's some kind of unity, and you know and we can promote all the peace, and get rid of all that division and hatred.
Yeah, yeah.
Propaganda is just, I mean, yeah, it's
I
fed.
despise despise propaganda. It's been used forever. It's been used for many, 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 many years, and with all of the knowledge that we have now and all of the evidence on how propaganda works, like you would think people would be able to spot it better and be able to tell, but I think people don't want to do their own research enough to make sure that what they're spreading is factual. Like, and a lot of times it uses actual facts, but they exaggerate the facts, leave out important information, or flat out just stick in some lies or personal opinions to make it just sound more fit to their narrative, like whatever the reason is that they're spreading it for. And so that's a whole other issue to try to battle in itself. But I think people need to like take a step back and get back to their like what it used to always be. Like I always felt like most people were always very kind and welcoming, and I mean, for here in Canada, like I understand people's frustrations with immigration, and not because of where people are coming from, more our housing. Like we're kind of going through a bit of a housing crisis right now. So it's difficult to find a place to live because there was so much immigration that came into Canada, and the houses weren't being built fast enough to keep up with the immigration. So I've seen people have to go live with family members, like if they've had to move out of their apartments for whatever reason, they've had to go live with family members because they weren't able to find an apartment in time. And I know about 20 years ago when I first got my first apartment, I was able to look at like 5, 6 places and pick which one I like the most. And now, like I see people that have to like move in some pretty dumpy places because it's the only place that's available. So I understand people's frustrations and whatnot around that, but it doesn't give people the right to be cruel to other people. Like there's so much hate being spewed around, especially around like Tim Hortons in Canada, because there's a lot of people from India that work at Tim Hortons, and they're starting to call Canada like Can India. And there's a lot of calls for like mass deportations, kind of like what's going on in America, and just all this stuff that's just very like un-Canadian. Like Canada has always been a very, very multicultural cultural place. Like I was telling Isaiah the other day, like when I lived in British Columbia as a child, we lived there multiple times. My grandmother lived out there, and she battled cancer for 8 years on and off. And my mother, being who my mother is, we have moved out there to go help my grandmother every single time because my mom didn't want her to be she just knew that my grandmother needed help. So we would sell everything and move to British Columbia and so forth. So that's the reason why we moved a lot. But every single time I had multiple friends in my class from India. So it's nothing new here. This was like 30 years ago that this was going on when I was moving back and forth when we were moving back and forth from British Columbia to Nova Scotia. And that was the first time I was really ever introduced to other culture. I can't talk today. Other cultures, my goodness, outside of like what's in my small town. Like in my small town, it's mostly, well, the population is mostly white, and then we have our Black communities, like there's our First Nations, and then we do have like a mixture of maybe some people from China and few people here and there from like India, and a lot of the times it might be like a doctor and their family that's here from India. So my town was very, very uncultured. I cannot say that word today for some reason. So it's almost like a shock to people here now when they're starting to see more people from like India and more people from Mexico and so forth, that's showing up in our towns and in our smaller towns. And I'm just like, this has just always happened in Canada. We're just a small town and we've never really seen it before. It's just everywhere as I've been in Canada, it's been like this. Like it's just not new. It's just new to this small area. So it's something for people to adjust to, I guess, but it goes back to it just doesn't give people the right to be cruel and hateful and treat people like you go through Tim like you see people complaining about going through Tim Hortons and because somebody from India served them, and they're just like posting and there's like comments all over their posts that's agreeing like, oh, every single time I go through and blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, what are we becoming? What are we becoming? I don't understand what has happened to people. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's really sad when people, certain ethnicities or people from places, they have that sense of superiority somehow. And a lot of it, the concept with immigrants is basically, oh, they're coming from a poor place in search of a better life. So this is the narrative, and this is correct to a lot of extent. But then there are exceptions. There are other reasons. There are many other reasons why uh,
Hmm.
people would leave their home town or their home countries and move and make that move. It's not just because of the financial factor. It's a
Yeah.
lot other, like I said, it's more like uh, there was lawlessness, there was corruption, there was
Hmm.
things, there was a foresight where things will be going southwards,
Yeah.
and
Things
but
get
there.
scary sometimes, and
So I mean, it's wrong to judge, just
absolutely.
certain skin color or certain ethnicity,
Hmm.
they're inferior, we're superior. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just wish that people would start thinking differently and
Yeah.
stop
Be
judging.
more humane. Like, it's just humanity. It's just be humane. Like I said earlier, like, treat others how you want to be treated. When my mother taught me that, I didn't think, okay, treat white people how I want to be treated. That's just not what I gathered from that. My mother meant everybody. You treat everybody the way you want to be treated. And I see, like, for instance, there's this guy around here. He's basically a white nationalist, and I've seen him talk very, very kind in his comments, but it's not to, like, people of color. It's other white people, and he sounds very, very kind, very nice. But then you see other comments on how he talks to other people, and I'm just like, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Just because you can be nice to one group of people and then awful to another group of people, that doesn't make you a good person at all. Like, it just it doesn't work that way.
I mean, sometimes people are naturally, I mean, they have a sense of superiority, but then there are other people who have been fed that way.
Hmm.
Thinking that we're living in an age of reels and shorts. They are like 30-second videos, and
Yeah.
people are scrolling through, and it's they're absorbing whatever.
Hmm.
And then a lot of times it's really, I think it's dangerous how things are taken out of context. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Somebody, gave a speech somewhere, said something, but there's nothing before it, nothing after it. They just cut up like that 20-second
Yep.
reel. And then there are comments and hatred, and people are spewing uh,
Hate.
hate. Uh,
Yep.
that person probably didn't even mean that. I mean, you have to go. We had Ramadan, and I was reading the Quran, and I came across a verse, and all
Hmm.
it means is do not believe anything until you reasonably are able to verify.
Yep.
So I was just thinking that verification part has died, it's vanished.
It
And
has.
like they would just believe. How come people have become so gullible?
I know.
Then you
Yeah.
see something and you just like, oh, this is true. And then now we're coming into AI. Come on,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
could make a
It's
make
easy, like, we have, like, my phone's right here. I could easily get on
Yeah,
and
I mean,
quickly fact check something.
we could both be shown sitting at a beach and, doing something else.
Yeah.
It's that dangerous. It's that
I know. I
scary.
know. I
And
wish
people
people
still,
could realize that, like, context matters. So, like you've mentioned, like, there's, like, 20-second clips, and just that 20 seconds fits their narrative, but what was said before and what was said after doesn't at all. It completely eliminates their narrative. That's why they choose to show that 20 seconds, knowing that people are not gonna go search for that full clip to get the full context of it. So now their narrative is true to people, although it's completely misleading, and it's just a small fraction of a video to get people. I don't know what the purpose is, angry, upset, to fool people. Like, and me, I mean, I've said this before in the past, like, I don't like being lied to. I don't like being tricked. I don't like being fooled. So maybe that's why I naturally just, like, don't take everything as it looks. Like, I have to look into something, and I have found out certain things that I've thought when I go to fact check. I realize that I didn't have the full context, and so I was not correct on my thought around, and this was more related, an assumption that I had made, but I didn't spew that that opinion of mine because my opinion was not formed around full facts. It was formed on just a portion of this topic. And then in turn I educated myself more on my opinion, which my opinion changed because now I have more facts and I was wrong. I don't want to spread misinformation. I don't want to spread anything that is incorrect. And anytime I've said anything incorrect, like on my personal social medias, I've gone and corrected myself because I don't have like such an ego that I just can't accept that I'm wrong. Like, and I think this is the third podcast I've had, and this will be the third time ego is mentioned. But I think it's important because I think people's egos just really, like, if people are wrong, their egos just don't allow them to accept the fact that they were wrong. And if people could push past that and accept that your ego is in your way from being able to grow and learn. So just push that aside a little bit and you'll learn a thing or two. And learning is not wrong. Like there's nothing wrong with learning, especially if you were incorrect in what you believed before. It's not a hit to the ego because you were wrong. Like it's now you know more and now you can form a different opinion. Like I don't see what the big deal is around if you are incorrect, like why it's just such a hard hit to that ego and people can't take it. So I think a lot of work needs to be done on training that ego.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And then I feel that people are, including ourselves, like have become impatient. We are
Yeah.
tolerance level is low and we just want to, move things fast. We don't want to
Hmm.
think and do the fact checking. Where
Yeah.
did the whole verification, validation, and fact checking go? We don't want
Hmm.
to stop and think.
Well, I think it's kind of I've thought about this before. I think it's kind of like made to be that way right now because there's just such an overflow of something new coming out constantly. Like it's like flooding the zone kind of thing. There's
Mhm.
so much out there for people to fact check now that it's nearly impossible to fact check everything. And that's done on purpose. And I think that's like a political tool that has been used over the years many times is just flooding the zone. So it's just impossible to know what's right and wrong. And thankfully there are people that dedicate their time. Like I follow a lot of people on social media that actually dedicate this is their job, fact checking what's coming out of administration's mouths and what's being announced, that like they dedicate their time. And I've seen people even talk about different cultures and stuff, like just fact checking. But unfortunately that doesn't always land on the right pages. Like it's gonna land on my page because of something like that fits my algorithm, but it's not gonna land on someone's page that is hateful and racist or whatnot because it just doesn't fit their algorithm. So that's another issue that it's hard to battle this kind of stuff because of everything we just mentioned. And then it comes down to like, is this actually going to hit the right people's feeds like that could really benefit from seeing something like this, learn a thing or two. Like I don't know if people would even take the time. Like I'm hoping people would. That's really my hope. But that's just social media these days.
Okay. Okay.
So you did mention that you just finished, I think it was what, on like the 19th. So like 10 days ago, you finished with
Yeah.
Ramadan.
Eid
Yeah. So
on March 20th.
20th. Yes. Yeah. So like I've seen posts and stuff around Ramadan. Like I know our prime minister and I believe like the opposition leader as well was posting like about it, like just and not in a negative way. They were both saying like happy Ramadan, like we're wishing you the best and so forth. But I haven't really like looked deeply into it. And I could have like the last what like me and you've been kind of talking back and forth like the last month about this. And I could have really, really looked into it, but I kind of wanted to hear from you directly, like what that experience is like. Like what is it all about? Like do you learn something from that? Like kind of like spiritually? Like it's something I'm very curious about.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, so the month of Ramadan is a spiritual time. So we all Muslims are directed to fast all 30 days of that month. So basically we start the fasting at sunrise and
Hmm.
stop it at sunset for all 30 days. It's not just about not eating and drinking, really. that's the bigger part because it just
Yeah.
becomes or yeah, we're just not it's not about it's a time for reflection. So not
Yeah.
eating or drinking is one part of it. How we can connect or you know uh, we can feel how there are people out there who don't have food, they're going through poverty, and we can
Yeah.
have that feel that and have the motivation to help them out and do something about it. That's one thing.
That's beautiful.
And then, there's a worship part where we have special prayers and everything, but we're all supposed to renew um, our values and what
Hmm.
what Islam teaches us. Supposed to like we do what every standard Muslim should anyways do during this month as well, but it's just a
Hmm.
time to reflect more, to renew and to think about it and set
Yeah.
aside time to really meditate and see through things and fix things that throughout
Hmm.
the year if we have gone off track, then it's
Yeah.
time to come back on track. Yeah, this is what Trump is all about.
I think that's great, especially the part where you like kind of you're able to put yourself in other people's shoes because
Yeah.
hunger is a very real thing in many places across the world. Like there's people that die of starvation every single day. That I think that's a really beautiful part of it. So you can understand how these people feel and not just like I'm empathetic about it. I feel sorry for these people. My heart breaks for these people. Like you understand what it actually feels like for these people. So there's a difference there. So I think that's really beautiful, honestly. When Ramadan ended, like what do you feel like coming out of it? Like I know you're probably looking forward to a meal and a drink, but do
Yeah,
you feel like refreshed like like on the spiritual level? Like
that's true because I mean that's like I mentioned, it's time for the renewal of
yeah.
our faith. We're supposed to do what we're supposed to do all year long, all lifelong. But
Hmm.
every Ramadan just kind of it's a renewal of our promise to God, to motivate ourselves to stay on track. A bit of meditation, a bit of thinking to reflect on what
Yeah.
we've been doing this past year and what we're supposed to fix moving
Hmm.
forward, and then
Yeah.
getting into the next Ramadan. So it's beautiful. It just feels like
Yeah.
I do miss my routine in Ramadan. An early breakfast and then fasting and then having 2 meals a day. It's healthy too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
So just so while you're going through Ramadan, so can you only have is it 2 meals a day that you can have or
yeah. So we like a breakfast at sunrise and then
Mhm.
nothing during the day. And at sunset, we have our other, the dinner.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah, and that it probably teaches you so much patience and control as well because I like picking like and I'm not a big breakfast person, but even if I have breakfast in the morning, before lunch comes, I like to have myself a little snack. Like so that would teach you so much control and patience and I can see how beneficial that can be.
because, and then, I mean, we're supposed to go about our business. Like it's not like nothing stops. The life
Yeah.
goes everything. We go to schools, we go to, our work, and everything
Yeah.
is exactly the same. And then that we need to practice patience, like you said. If you're hungry or you're thirsty, you're not losing control. You're not getting angry at others and yelling and whatnot. So you
Yeah.
need to make sure that you're doing that. And
Yeah. Hangry is real. It's not in the it's not an actual feeling, but I think it really
yeah,
should be put in the dictionary. Hangry is definitely very real.
it is. It is. When you're fasting, you feel that. But then, as a person who's fasting, as a believer, we're supposed to, control ourselves, like self
Yeah.
control and
Yeah.
motivation to go do good deeds and, just renew the faith and
Mhm.
and then, move on to the next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Another thing I wanted to talk about, so what you wear, what is that called?
Call the hijab. And
Yeah.
so this is a head cover, but
Mhm.
a little misconception about it is it's supposed to, cover the hair and no hair should be showing. And this is a part of the attire that our religion say. So there's nothing specific. I mean, you could be wearing pants, you could be wearing a gown or
Yeah.
anything that is modest,
Mhm.
and the head cover is just a part of it. And
Yeah.
it's a twofold concept, not just, being modest. It's also, your identity as a Muslim woman. So you're not confused with others, and
Mhm.
people can say, and you can become a representative of your
Yep.
faith. And that also motivates a woman to be the good standard Muslim. So she's showing off that, oh, I'm a Muslim woman, so others can, take um, a kind of, I mean, be a role model.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is just this is a concept, and
Yeah.
is a scripture.
Yeah.
It's not a one strict dress. It's more like just being modest. It could be
Mhm.
any kind of dress.
Yeah, yeah. Now is it, like, choice? Like, do some people just choose not to wear one, or is it kind of like a not I don't wanna say strict or forced because that's not the right, but I know there's also different like, you're wearing a hijab, but there's some that are full face coverings, some full body coverings, and I know that they have all different names. There's
Yeah.
and that's what I was always wondering is it a choice to do that, or is if you're a Muslim woman, you know that this is just part of the faith and the culture.
Yes. So it is a
Yeah.
part the faith, and it is written in our scripture that
Mhm.
a woman is supposed to be doing that. Like I
Yeah.
said, Islam is a way of life. I mean, you go to the scripture and you find answers for your questions there and how you look. So in the scripture, there's a concept of modesty, like you should be covering your body, or you should look like a modest woman, no vulgarity
Mhm.
in your dressing and all that. So it's a choice in the sense that, you go, you read the scripture and what you understand from it.
Mhm.
Some people, there's different interpretations. There's different
Yep.
school of thought. Some people take that as face covering.
Completely covered, like, just eyes showing type.
Another school of thought that I follow, they say, no, face covering is not necessary. It's only the head covering.
Yeah.
Having a modest dressing, no matter like what kind of a garment it is just
Mhm.
across the board. So there's
Yeah.
a little difference of opinion from the scholars and different schools of
Mhm.
thought that whether the face covering is necessary or not. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it depends on your understanding, your conviction. To me,
Mhm.
yes, this is something that is asked of me by my God,
Yeah.
and I'm doing it by my choice because I
Yeah.
want to be what a standard Muslim woman should be, and I
Yeah.
want this that nobody forced it on.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's beautiful that there's different interpretations around it and each woman will choose how they take that
Yeah,
and that's how they'll
whatever is their understanding is
yeah.
the
I think
part.
that's
And your
really wonderful.
intention matters. My intention is to this is my understanding of my scripture, so I'll just follow that. Other women, I mean, the one they cover their faces, they're not forced into that. It's their understanding of the religion.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that is really great. Yeah, that's, another thing that, like, I mean, I've always been curious about the differences because you'll see women everywheres with sometimes some of the face covered, sometimes full body covered and so forth, and so I was curious to dig into that, so thank you for clarifying some. What was oh, yeah, another one I wanted to touch on is I don't have a list here. I did have a list, but I don't have it with me, but over the years, like, the I think the Muslim culture is beautiful, and this has come like, I'm not a big religious person myself, like, I don't go to church, but I fully respect religion 100%. I believe people are to do what they feel is right, what they believe, like and I believe that there is a higher power above us. I haven't gone to church very much. My grandmother did and whatnot, but I still feel like I follow a lot of teachings of, I don't know if should say the Bible or God. Like I learned enough in my younger years that I do follow a lot of what was taught. But I think for the most part, that's just being like humane, a decent person type thing. But again, I have full respect for all religion out there. And I believe that everybody should have the right to worship how they want, believe how they want. And I think that's the beauty in being human is that there are multiple different religions out there. And I think there's some religious people that just can't accept that there's other religions. Like they believe that you should be a Christian because that is the religion above all. And I don't agree with that. I think how I was starting this off, I think the Muslim culture is probably one of the most beautiful that I've seen and looked into. Like I know over the years there have been a lot of people that converted to being Muslim because it's just really such a beautiful it's anything that I've read or learned about it's about being Muslim is it's truly just beautiful. And I think that's why I've been so confused over the years with like so much hate being driven towards Muslim people because I'm just like it's so beautiful. Like if you actually take a moment and read anything, even if you've read for like a minute, you're going to be like, wow, that's beautiful. It's really, truly beautiful. Like there was Muhammad Ali, I think, I can't remember what his name was prior, but he converted and became Muhammad Ali. And I believe Malcolm X was another well known public figure that converted. And I've seen celebrities over the years and everything that's converted. Um, and I think that's because they really took their time to learn something and they feel like they need to be represented some way, somehow with a religion and or with like a culture and converting to Muslim just really seemed like the most beautiful choice that they could pick. Like that's always been just my understanding around the culture is that it truly is a beautiful, beautiful one.
Yeah, like I said, it's more of a way of life, and I think the beauty of it is live and let live, which a
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand.
Yeah.
That there's no force in religion. You cannot force someone
Hmm.
to adopt a religion. Somebody learns themselves
Yeah.
and understand the concepts. That's what drives them towards the religion.
Yeah.
Cannot like look at people and follow them because nobody is a perfect Muslim. You need to go to the scripture. To me, I mean,
Hmm.
this my idea of when people convert, or even if they don't convert, they're born Muslims, but they're not practicing. But
Hmm.
then there comes a time in their lives, myself included, then I need to go back to the book. I need to go back to the teachings.
Yeah.
This is,
Yeah.
to me, I think this is the best way of trying to learn. If somebody is wants to learn,
Yeah.
then the best way is to go to the scripture and go to the material itself
Hmm.
than following a bunch of Muslims.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and there's no force. Then
Yeah.
nothing forced upon you. You read, you understand.
Hmm.
If you're convinced, then follow. It's a way of
Yeah.
life, not a set of strict rules.
Yeah.
If you like
Yeah.
it, well, you're welcome. If you don't like it, great. I mean, it's we're all humans. We're all
Hmm.
equal in the eyes of our Creator. This is what
Yeah.
my
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's so beautiful. Like, and I've noticed in like other religions, and I mentioned that I'm not religious. I just don't go to church and I don't really read the Bible and so forth. But I have a lot of curiosity. Like I'm a very, very curious person around different religions and whatnot. And that is one thing that I have noticed over time is that you don't see Muslim people going around trying to convert people to their beliefs and their faith. But you'll see other religions, like for example, my house is very, very close to a church. The Jehovah Witnesses. Like when we
Mhm.
first moved there, they were showing up at my house weekly. They were coming like and I'm not a mean person. And like I said, I'm a curious person. So I did let them come inside my house and talk to me about things because I don't want to shut somebody down. And so I did speak with them a bit, but they used to come by all the time. They drop off little flyers for me. And then you'll see other religions like Christianity. You'll see like a lot of people trying to get more and more to go to church and whatnot. And I don't see Muslim that coming from Muslims. I mean, I don't follow like a ton of Muslims on social media, so I don't know if that's actually a thing. But it doesn't seem like it's as much of a thing as it would be for other religions, maybe.
Yeah, there are some organizations. One I can think of is called a White Islam, but they
Hmm.
were more into, trying to fight off all this propaganda, and they try to, promote what is true about Islam, the truth about
Yeah.
Islam. So there are organizations working in that direction.
Hmm.
Not much of preaching. It's more like
Teaching.
about Islam,
Yeah,
you
because
know.
there's so many misconceptions
Yeah,
around, like,
yeah. To
Islam is not coming for our women. They're not coming to.
It's funny. I mean, it's almost funny. I mean, I always laugh about how people put things this way. It's just like, I mean, look at the woman. They, I will
I
say
have
that.
definitely don't have Islamic people coming and knocking on my doors and trying to convert me and
Yeah, I
make
mean, it's
me
just if
follow
you like
them.
one, if you like a Muslim, you try to learn about them. If you like it, welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Yeah, there's some of those misconceptions I have to laugh at because people are seriously terrified that, like, and I've saw multiple people share that video that Islam is coming for our women and so forth, and I'm just like, it almost makes me sad because I'm like, people are genuinely scared right now, and it's not really their fault. I mean, people have the ability to research themselves, but I think a lot of people's attention spans are just ruined with social media. But the people that's promoting this and the ones that are actually on stage talking like this are the ones that just, they really should be ashamed of themselves because they're scaring people to death and they do not have to be so terrified. It's just not a thing. And they're living their days genuinely scared that Islam is taking over and all women are going to have to be forced into this and forced into that. And I'm just like I said earlier, I'm like, you've never actually met and talked to a Muslim person before, have you? Because this is just, if you have, you would realize how silly this is. Like,
This is about I met a person at one of our mosques, and she was
mhm,
not, but she was learning. She was a curious.
yeah,
She was learning about different religions, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
if I convert, will I have to cover my head? Will I have to be wearing that gown? Like, no, no, this
mhm,
doesn't work this way.
yeah,
If you're able to learn exactly what the way of life is, there
mhm,
will come a time when you will be doing that by your choice. And
yeah,
that's the real Islam. No forcing. You will not be forced from day one to be doing that. You're not
mhm,
forced to do this and this and this and this. If you have that conviction and you actually learn the real concept and you're able to realize the
mhm,
truth about it, you will be doing all that stuff by choice, which you're
yeah,
making you scared.
yeah,
So it's not preaching. It's just like kind of teaching that, you don't
yeah,
have to do stuff. It's just
yeah,
learn. Just learn and be open about learning and
yeah,
don't judge just looking at people.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's why I think it's such a beautiful culture because anything that I've read and learned about it myself over the years, it's really just about that. It's about accepting people basically for who they are at their like it doesn't matter what they look like. They're people and and now I've learned something new because it's hard to tell what's real and what's fiction sometimes, like even me who's always looking for truth, like sometimes that is a little difficult to find because you can find different opinions when you're looking and whatnot. So I'm definitely learning some things here. Now, I want to kind of touch a little bit on like that, like under 1%, because I think that's what people are terrified about because they think that all Muslims, anybody who follows the religion, are the same. And there's that under, it's less than 1% are those extreme people that that make people leave their countries. That's a reason why a lot of people will leave their homes and their countries because they'll and correct me if I'm wrong. Some regimes get in and they have these extreme beliefs and they use the religion to kind of push those extreme beliefs, and that's just less than 1% of the whole community. Like, is that correct?
I mean, there, like I said, there are black sheep everywhere.
Yeah,
And when we talk about regimes, like I said, people are different. Their people are nice. They want peace, but the whole some wrong narratives come top down. I mean, for
yeah,
example, Saudi Arabia, the women were not allowed to drive. That has nothing to do with Islam. Islam does not
yeah,
say that women cannot drive. It's
yeah.
their own culture
It's
that
the top down.
top down.
Yeah,
People are nice. I always say people, general public people are very, very nice. They're good,
yeah,
but they're just pushed into a certain direction and pushed into
hmm,
thinking all those things. Yeah, there's bad people everywhere. Good
hmm,
and bad people belong to all religions, all cultures, everywhere. Those people,
absolutely.
they're bad,
Yep,
non-practicing. They don't understand, and they do bad
hmm,
things in the under the cover of Islam, saying, "Oh, Islam says that." No, go back to the book, go back to the scripture,
yeah,
and see if that's really true. Do not
yeah,
believe everything, everything you see. So
yeah,
if the somebody's killing a person, saying that, "Oh, I'm doing it because of my religion," that's not true. Go back. Islam Quran says, "One who kills a soul kills the whole humanity."
yeah.
You know,
So
it's
that's just
all.
not, that's personal beliefs wherever they may have stemmed from.
And then, I mean, there are people who are born in Muslim families, raised as Muslims, but Islam is the way of life. If you're not practicing it correctly, technically, they're not Muslims. They're just calling themselves
Hmm.
Muslims. They're claiming to be
Yeah,
Muslim. They're they're just
yeah,
defaking the religion because of
yeah.
their own values and their messed up mindset.
Beliefs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's people like that all over the world. It doesn't matter what race, religion you are. I know plenty. I mean, there's white nationalists and whatnot. They have those extreme type of beliefs. Like, it doesn't matter what skin color, what country, what religion. There's mental illness, and I truly believe it's just mental illness that make people do these things. Maybe they were brought up in like a bad environment. Like, I don't know. Maybe they were treated very poorly as children, so they just grew up with a lot of hate in their hearts, and they just feel like the world owes them. They're just going to punish other people for what they've gone through. That's sometimes how people's mentality turns when they've been traumatized as children and teenagers and so forth. And I think more proof to that is if you look at a place like Afghanistan, you see pictures of women back in the 90s. It's beautiful. I don't think there a lot of the pictures that I saw, there was no coverings. They were walking around holding binders and textbooks, and they were fashionable, like they were modest, but
Mm.
they were looked lovely. They were dressed nice. They were just living a very normal life. And then now I don't, and this is something that is just, I've seen on social media. I don't know how true it is, but the rules from the top down have changed so drastically that women are just basically, they're like completely covered. I've seen that like they have to have their blinds closed in their homes and so forth. Again, I don't know how true that is, but I think places like Afghanistan is what drives people from from the top in other places to use that narrative that that's what
Yeah,
all Muslims are.
Islam's concept is very, very simple. A woman should be dressed in a way that the dress should not be revealing, it should not be see-through, and it's modest.
Yeah,
Period. And
simple.
if you understand that, if you like it that way, then adopt it, and
Yep,
that's it. It has nothing
yep,
to do with imposition of this rule through regimes and the government
yep,
working to cover up. This is not Islam.
yep,
This is not
yep,
to do with
absolutely.
Islam. And if the regimes are doing that under the name of Islam, what can I say
They're just
other than
fronting. They're using
they're just
the
using
religion
Islam is
to
very simple,
push their narratives.
very easy. People, it's nothing. It's easy. It's
It's just
simple.
not.
Love and it's peace. There's
Yeah.
nothing else about Islam, I would say.
Hmm.
Very simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would think it's safe to say that although some of these countries have turned more extreme with their top-down laws and rules that they've put in place. That's just absolutely not the case for people's actual beliefs in when they come to, like, Canada and they come to America, like, they're more getting away from the fabricated lie of what they're trying to portray Islam as. They're escaping that because that they know that that's not their religion. They know that's not their culture. They don't wanna I mean, I don't think anybody would be wanna be tied to that, and you would think moving away from that would be showing, "Okay, this is just I'm not okay with that, what's going on in that country. It's my home, but it no longer looks like my home, and now I'm choosing a different life in a safer place," but there's the propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the time I immigrated and I left Pakistan, the Western world looked so much different. Uh,
Yeah.
it is now. I mean, people were more welcoming. Even the
Mhm.
governments were more welcoming, and
Yeah,
it was easier to set up your life. But in past 5 to 10 years, things have changed so much, so
drastically,
that
and it's
are now, they're questioning voice that, "Oh, was it
yeah,
bad there or is it bad here?"
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, it's been leaking into Canada, like, I've seen for the last 5, 10 years myself, the uptick in just, like, the hateful rhetoric, the hateful messaging, the blatantly racist messaging, even if they're not sitting here and shouting out slurs and whatnot, their messaging is very racist. Their messaging is scaring people into people of color to fear people of color, whether you're Black, Indian, Muslim, so forth. Like it's the messaging that people are not realizing is blatantly racist to create division. And I don't understand what the purpose behind all of it is. Like why these governments want people so divided and so whatever this world has become. I don't understand, but I'm trying to battle that a little bit. I don't know how well I can do from a small fishing town in Nova Scotia, but I do have a bit of a unique position where I do know people all over the world and many people from different cultures. So I get to see that what's portrayed on social media just is just not reality. Like it's not, and just seeing the fear that's being driven not only in the US, it's very much here in my own town. It's very much here, and I'm just like I need to show people that what you're fearing, you don't have to fear. It's very fabricated, it's propaganda, and the people that you're fearing are actually very lovely people. You don't have to be scared anymore.
yeah,
It's wild. Wild times we live in.
yeah. And the whole thing is that I want to leave my children in a better place, in a more
Yeah,
peaceful place.
yeah,
This is my biggest fear. Where am I?
yeah,
And by my kids, I mean all kids.
yeah,
We are raised
absolutely.
collectively.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's why I've talked out more and more over time because I used to ignore it. For years, I just ignored it. Like, there was like, in my small town, again, it's a small town, everybody knows everybody type thing. We have like our local groups and whatnot. And all like and on a lot of my friends' Facebooks and on a lot of these like local groups, I just watched people just spew all this hate and talk terribly. Like, they would go as far as saying that our prime minister, which at the time was Trudeau, should be shot and like all this craziness and just all this like really crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. And for the longest time, I just like, I saw it and I took notes of who is talking like this. So I know who you are now. Like, I know what you're really like now type thing. But then it came to a point where it was like bringing more people in. And I was just like, okay, something has to be done here because not just me, like a lot of people just kind of, there were some people that would comment and tell people how like crazy and ridiculous the things they were saying was and whatnot. But for the most part, people just sat back and just let them go on between themselves, talking the way they did. And I think that might have been like the mistake there was just not battling it when it first started and just letting them like you don't know what the future is going to hold. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. So when you see stuff like that, like I think in the future I'll know to try and I try to respectfully correct people when I see things. Like I don't want to be like in an argument with somebody. Like I really do try to like say it in a respectful manner. Like just the hate is just not okay and you're just not correct on this type thing. Like, what's with the hate? Why do you like? I understand that that's your belief, but why do you have to be? Why does there have to be so much hate behind it? Like, why can't you just say that that's your belief instead of like all this name calling and like hateful rhetoric? Like, what happened to just having a conversation? But now it's like keyboard warriors. Like, they're on these groups and they have fake profiles and they're just being terribly mean to people. They're saying like the worst things ever. There's people with like not fully disabled people, but people that have disabilities. So maybe they might have a bit of a hard time with spelling or expressing themselves. And I've seen people like that get completely attacked and made fun of, like, oh, are you, this is your first day on the internet? Like, what are you, the R word? And this and that. And I'm just like, what is happening to people? Like, why are people so mean? And I don't understand. And a lot of it has to be social media, but
Yes.
I think not nipping it in the butt when it first started was a big mistake because now people, I mean, we're 5 to 10 years in of this on social media now. So this is just like, I don't know if brainwash can be the right word here, but that's just what people have become now. That's all I see. Like, we have one group on, it's like a rant and rave group that's local here. And that's all it is. It's just people on there that are just being mean and nasty and calling each other names and ripping them apart and just being nasty, nasty people. And I'm just like, what, who hurt you? And why do you think you need to hurt other people now because somebody hurt you? Like, go get some help. Like, go soul searching and maybe stay off the internet for a little bit because you're probably ruining good people's days being such nasty people. Like, but I try to always respond with kindness, even when people are calling me names and saying mean things to me. I always try to just like, I might get a little snappy here and there. Like, sometimes it's hard not to, but for the most part, like, I don't like to like call people names and pick apart their appearance and stuff like that. Like, I might just have like kind of like a little bit of a smart ass comment back to them just to give them a little bit back, I suppose, because now I do know I've seen that a lot of people that have been like this over the last 10 years, now there's more people on the other side speaking out and they don't like it at all. Like, they do not like the same energy in return. And it's like, maybe we should have done this years ago and maybe people would be back down on a level that's more like humane. Like, so we just got to battle the nasty comments and nasty attitudes some way, somehow. It's a huge part of the problem for sure.
At the end of the day, we're all humans. We're full of flaws. We cannot be
Yeah.
flawless. Just that the understanding. I just think that people need to stop and think. We're going too fast.
Yeah.
People just don't think anymore.
Hmm. Yeah.
They're not patient enough.
Yeah.
So
Yep, yep, I agree. Well, yeah, that leaves to my final and favorite question that I ask at the end of that I'll be asking at the end of each episode. Is there a message? If there's something that you would like to leave people with to sit and think about, what would that message be?
I think yeah, we've already covered on that. My message would be to live and let live and do not judge too fast. Stop
Mhm.
and think. Think what you're saying, think what you're doing before, just rushing into anything and leaving a peaceful world for our children to grow up, which is my biggest fear and my biggest wish.
Yep, yep, absolutely. Well, I think you are a very wise woman, Isha. You are very kind, and when I knew I was going to be doing this, I was like, I have to reach out to Isha because she is just the sweetest soul. Like, she's just
Yeah.
so kind and lovely, and you're absolutely the perfect person to have on to talk about this topic because you embody exactly, and like I said before, and you know you're not perfect, nobody's perfect, but I think you embody what a true Muslim is. It's not what the media and propaganda likes to make people believe. So I truly thank you so much for coming on here and taking your afternoon, some of your afternoon to talk with me. I know we both agreed that this was an important topic. So I really hope that people take the time and learn something from what you've said on here today because I think truth and reality really matters and now we know a lot more.
Yeah, thank you so much, Trisha. You're very kind and very brave, and you're able to speak up. And thank you so much for having me today. And to share my thoughts and my opinions and sharing your platform with me.
Of course, absolutely. And maybe we can do it again in the future. Never know. I'll reach out. All right, Isha. Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you again soon.
Likewise. Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.